Hello, constituents of the Mega Republic. I'm Laurelian, and today we are between multiplayer sessions of our EU4 game. Between session 1 and 2, I'm playing as England, hopefully Great Britain soon. Well, not that soon, unfortunately. We didn't go up tech-wise very quickly when it comes down to administrative. However, I would like to rectify that over this next session. I'd like to jump as high as physically possible before the end of the next session. I'd like to be almost, even if I could, be close to or at 10 by the end of that session. Who knows, maybe that will or won't happen. When it comes down to Scotland and Ireland, what I'm going to do is I'm going to vassalize both of them. I don't recall off the top of my head if there's an event that allows me to just swallow Ireland if it's vassalized. But with Scotland, if I vassalize them and I just wait to form Great Britain, then I will eat them. So there's that. We've got that going for us. What's the next big thing? Sweden, the Swedish player, Burgerman, is rather unreliable at times. So I'm not 100% sure, like, I've been backing Sweden. I'm not 100% sure if I want to keep backing Sweden, if that makes sense. Just because I don't know if he'll be here all the time, and if it's constantly an AI Sweden, well, maybe we might see a sort of North Sea empire eventually if AI continue, or if Sweden is abandoned by Burgerman, because he's pretty prone to do that. No offense to the guy, he's a great guy. He's just prone to not, or to say that he's going to show up the night before and doesn't. Let's see now. So we've got globally let's talk about foreign relations here for a moment. We've got a hyper-aggressive Castile. We've got a hyper-aggressive France. Both Ermac and Duke of Bacon's are very, very war-based players. And then we've got a Portugal that is he's not necessarily, he's rather intelligent. He's very smart about the way that he does things. And that would be Epic Fail. Now, none of us are particularly good at EU4, but I think it's going to make for a very interesting colonial game, and a very competitive colonial game. What else do we have going on in the world? Oh, you'll notice that Burgundy is no more. That event fired off camera. We lost about an hour of footage, maybe less than that. I think it might have been less than that, where OBS just wouldn't work, wouldn't record. So that happened. Mevel, the Austrian player, is considering selling it to Dundo, the Holland player. Dundo was not around for that last little bit, so there wasn't a deal or anything made. We'll talk about that the first session. They might reach out to each other during the week, or they might have already reached out to each other and talked about it. So we'll talk about that right away in the next episode. Dundo might start to get a little bit more powerful, which means in order to keep control of the English Channel trade, I may have to invest a little bit into it by building some markets, I think they're called. Yeah. But I don't really fear Dundo. I don't mean that to be offensive. He's a great guy. I'm just not really afraid of that right now. What I am afraid of is the hyper-aggressive Castile and the hyper-aggressive France, and Portugal seizing opportunity to become powerful and to rule the seas. But if he starts to be a thorn in my side, I'll invest in that stuff. Right now I'm just gonna put that off to the side in hopes of creating more ships and more armies for the sake of coming down on my enemies. France has sort of been talking to me in the past, or during the previous game session, about a line. I don't want to do that And if I do that, I want to do it for as short a time as possible. I don't mind colluding with him, but allying with him in the immediate means that Castile and Portugal are inherently against me. It means that they might bring Austria to the side. It creates a world in which there are factions. If I ally with France for long term, if I ally with France for long term, there are factions in this world, and if there are obvious factions in this world, it becomes hard to jump on opportunities without essentially starting a world war. So while I am more than fine being friendly with France, I'm more than fine being friendly with Castile, I'm more than fine being friendly with Portugal. Well, I am allied with Portugal, and I'll talk about that in a second. But while I'm more than fine being allied with France, or more than while I'm more than fine with colluding with France, and more than fine with colluding with Castile in individual wars, in how the new world is going to be set up, a long-term alliance is just out of the question, because that means that the other one will start finding allies elsewhere, it'll build factions, and it'll just be bad for me in expanding and growing through opportunities in the future. I'm allied with Portugal because I really don't want Castile to take them. And England starts that way. I know Portugal and Castile are allied. I don't know that that's going to last forever. And this whole sort of, I like the situation as it is, so I'd like to at least help out Portugal until they've started to colonize over in Brazil and have a place to run to, if that makes sense. When I say I don't want factions, I want as many factions as possible. Not one or two factions. Or rather, eventually, I'd like to be the hegemony. I'd like to be the one who has all the power in the world. And we'll talk about that as the game goes on, about what my plans are. But for right now, we are out of time on this little between-session recap. So remember to be a hero to the Mega Republic by liking and subscribing. And as always, I will see you